think people in general become drawn to rock climbing because of the extreme nature of it, or just the difference. I mean, in a sense, you grew up 2 or 3 year old try to climb some things, and when you were 6 or 7, you were starting to climb trees. So I think that it's in our natures to do this thing. You see something, you want to conquer it in its own way.
Why do I like climbing? I've always been into fitness, and I feel like climbing was the first sport after I played soccer that actually made me really happy and not bored. And coming in and climbing or going outside, it's like you get your adrenaline rush, you have to conquer your own fears, and it's a really personal experience.
With rock climbing, you're kind of challenging your own physical abilities and your own kind of mental capacity to do well and push through certain barriers and barricades.
It also has an element of risk, though I think now that's kind of more artificial because the gyms have made it so safe. It's not just physical, it's very mental, because there's the risk that you're going to take a 10, maybe 15-foot fall in the gym.
I've definitely seen sort of a tipping point with climbing and its popularity in the last few years. It's definitely gained a certain national attention.
It's become a lot more crowded, right?
That's why we come in the
That's
morning.
why we come in the morning, because when you come in the evenings or even the weekends are super crowded. And lots of kids are coming now, we've noticed, young kids, right? Are coming more than before.
Yeah, we had hoped, so they started to come in January, and we had hoped that by March they would actually stop. But they're still here.
But they're still here.
Do I think climbing is becoming commercialized? Yeah, I mean, that's going to happen with any kind of sport, I think. I was a skateboarder for many years before I was a rock climber, and I definitely saw skateboarding go through that transition as well, whereas it was this fringe sport. As it gained in popularity, marketing outlets found it as a really cool activity. A lot more money came into it, sponsorships, and that's happening in climbing as well.
The big change is the proliferation of places like this, like rock climbing gyms. For rock climbing, because of safety issues involved in climbing on natural cliffs, it's not the kind of thing that you can just throw a whole bunch of people at. But with climbing gyms, where there's it's easier to control for safety, or it's easier to teach safety. There's more opportunity for it, and there's more and more climbing gyms now. So
Falling is always scary, no matter what. But in the gym, you can have full faith in the bolts, which isn't true outside all the time. So outside, a bolt could break. Or if you're trad climbing, which means you put in your own protection, your protection could come out, so it's even scarier.
I definitely think that people come into here because it's a scaled down version of what they can experience outdoors. I won't ever say that this is really simulating the world of rock climbing, because if anything, this is a gym where you can climb inside. You go outdoors, you will be climbing outdoors, and they are two very different things. In here, we have routes that are color coordinated. So on a top roping route, you'll be following the blue holes up the wall. On our bouldering route, you may be following the tape. Outdoors, you're not looking up for that big yellow thing. You're gonna be looking for a crack in the wall, anything to hold on to. And it's definitely a little bit more visceral and real.
Well, I get really afraid outdoors just because it's a lot different, and you're not surrounded by a bunch of pads, and it's just a little bit more scary. But definitely with training and getting strong, for sure, that can all be accomplished in the gym, definitely.
So when I think of climbing, I definitely think of the real version as being something that you do outdoors. But I think that's changed for a lot of people. Like, I used to do this thing at the gym where you just go up to the front desk and you ask for a belay partner and you'll get some random person. And I was surprised that a lot of the people I was climbing with hadn't ever climbed outside, and they didn't really have any interest in climbing outside. And then you'll come across a few people who have been climbing for years and years, and they go outside all the time.
Alex Honnold, as far as one of the bigger names, is people just pushing the sport and trying to get the word out that it's a great thing to do for oneself. In a way, rock climbing is a very selfish thing, but it's also a very shared moment. When Alex Honnold was doing something, in a sense, we're all climbing with him. We may not all be doing it or feeling that moment at that time, but we're all kind of there with him.
I think that there are always going to be the people that are the rock climbers that are kind of like, out there doing it, in the backcountry, or the crags that are very secluded and empty, and they're doing it for their personal, abilities and levels, and it's a very kind of like almost spiritual kind of like endeavor, and there's other kind of people that are going to be taking Instagram selfies of them rock climbing.
Climbing is very individualized, and there's no one thing that makes it universal other than that you're climbing. It's very different for everybody, and they all go through very different routines to get up to that moment of climbing. If anything, you wake up and just say, am I climbing today? Sweet.